not the experiment and this kind of thing. And we saw from that experiment, they fear of experiment because they don't train to be science teachers. So this is the kind of thing that we found, and we have to recommend to the government, to the Ministry of Education, because it's a problem, structural problem. The school cannot solve this kind of problem. So this government take a look on this kind of thing. Especially this government is so good. The Prime Minister announced that if UNESCO found any problem, the government going to solve that problem. He announced this kind of thing to the Parliament. It's the first time in the history, that the government guarantee the job and put all his heart to the quality of education. So if Kun Abhisit going to be the Prime Minister for about 4 or 5 years, he going to change Thailand into more quality of education, I'm sure. But I'm not sure that he going to be or not. But I'm sure that if he be, because he is very kind of thing that he involved at the beginning of this law, and he's put a lot of money in. The problem is the person going to make that policy come through. That if we can put all our heart to be one in education, I'm sure Thai people, Thai students have a potential. But we have to create the kind of quality opportunities for them to learn. And I think the Ministry of Education, the centralized responsible for setting up the education standards. As I mentioned to you, this is a minimum kind of thing. And developing the IQA system is responsible for the education institutions and the parent organization and the community concern. External is our job, UNESCO. I think the fourth one is a very kind thing. Utilization of assessment resource is responsibility by education administrative organizations. And by this saying, the job of using and applying the assessment resource depend on the administrators. I hate to say again, the school administrator, more than 70%, they didn't pay attention to the quality. By training, they didn't know the quality means. They know how to manage the people, the money, how to make very big name of the school, the fence, the grounds, really good ground of the school, very clean ground, kind of thing. Academic administration is the weak point of the principal by training and by heart. So I think it's the problem now. The government put a lot of money, 880 million baht, to the principal training and also the teacher training. It's good to be that kind of thing, but I'm not sure that we're going to change the heart of the current principals. It seems to me that not easy to do that because they live in that path and they progress in the position for a long time. Actually, we have to change the culture of the school. And the external quality assurance is the main instrument to setting up the new culture. I think our king saying about this kind of thing that if you want the school or any organization to be sustainable development, you have to let them to do from inside out, not outside in. I think this really important to do that. But at the beginning, we have a very problematic in terms of the low quality of education. If you have to wait for the inside out, probably we have to wait for very long time. Even in the UK, the UK Ofsted for 10 years of Ofsted as the external body to assess schools. For the first 10 years in the UK, Ofsted pay a big role to change the culture of the school in the UK. By the same token, Thailand probably need about 20 years, not 10 years like in the UK. That means that for 20 years, the UNESCO have to play a very big role on that kind of thing to create some fear with amicable fear or something like that. That means that you have to fear about not so good quality, but the external body try to help you. For example, to recommend to the government to give you more teachers inside mathematics. Let the government know about setting up the money for development. Actually, 3 years ago, I recommend to the quality fund, like in Hong Kong, to the government. At that time, government didn't pay attention to, and I wrote a letter to Kunabisit. At that time, he said, not the government. He's prepared to be government. And he asked me how much money to put in. I told him that probably you have about 20,000 million baht to put in to raise the quality of the school up to the minimum standard. And now he set the new office about this quality fund. So I'm very glad on that kind of thing. So this is the school have to know about that. UNESCO not just assess school and say, oh, certify, not certify your school. Our job have to do the system of the school, colleges, and vocational kind of system, and the non-formal, and the alternative schools kind of thing. We have to have the kind of perspective on the system approach, and try to do everything that why and how to get all the people involved, the quality education. The government, the Democrat government, have the project on 15 years of free education. And as a director, I told them that, not just opportunity, free opportunity. You have the guarantee that opportunity for the 15 years of education, quality education. You have to put quality in. So they accept our idea. So there's a lot of things that we have to document. Otherwise, the people didn't know that UNESCO did a lot of things. The man behind the scene, in Thai we call ปิดทองหลังพระ the office behind the scene, that probably a lot of people didn't know about that. Even the person in the board, probably they didn't know. But a lot of things we didn't tell anybody. I'm going to write a lot of things about it because it's not my job ended now. So we have to let the people know that UNESCO about 10 years did a lot of things for the school system and for the school and for the country. This the concept that even we external quality assurance body, we really sincere with the concept of the assessment for improving the quality. not just judging the quality. The first time in Thailand we have 3 standards with 11 indicators. It's the National Education Council are now discussing. And from this, the 3 standards, these are desirable characteristics of the Thai people. As I mentioned to you, we have the moral person with the competent person, and we would like the Thai have a happy life. 2 days ago, the research revealed that the secondary school students not have the happy life, and they found that emotional quotient highly correlated with happy life. That means that we have to put the EQ on the standard, on the target of teaching and learning kind of thing. If we would like to have happy life, otherwise we do not know how causes going to be the happy life. So the teacher cannot do anything about that. And there are 3 indicators: sound, physical, and mental health, and knowledge and skills and kind of thing, social skills, life skill, and attribute, righteousness, public mindedness. Kunabisit just 2 days ago have the public announcement on the conference that now education make the Thai people more selfish, and the selfishness correlated highly with the level of education. That means that if you doctoral degree person, you the most highest selfish. That means that education in Thailand, you would like a good person, good citizen, not for Thailand, but for the world. So that's why we have to reform this kind of thing. So we have to reform teaching and learning kind of thing. The agenda number 1, good person, good citizen. So it's the target of education reform in Thailand. Second, how? The guideline for education provision emphasis on learner-centered approach and school-based administration, SBM, that student center. So that means we would like the teacher and teacher education institutions is the heart of the solving this kind of problem. Teacher of the teachers or teacher educators. In the UK experience, a lot of people ask the UK person that why you need a leadership kind of thing person, why you ask the college education that usually teach a lot of leadership kind of discipline to be the trainer. That man said the most problem about leadership kind of thing at the university. So in the UK, they're setting up the new office to train the principal. They don't rely on the university, because they know very well that university is very loved with the body of knowledge. They're looking for doing research and setting up the new knowledge kind of thing. Teaching and the target of the quality of graduates, not the real target of university professor. That's the problem. I think it's in Thailand maybe we can learn the same lesson. So teaching and learning kind of thing, learner at the center of learning. I think the most important thing about the college education that going to produce teachers the new teacher, and they could produce the new principal. If the principal really appreciate all the quality and the learner as a center of learning kind of thing, they put the money in, and when they assess the teachers, they assess in the concept of, how good you are in terms of learner at the center of learning, you see. So it's probably 10 more years for Thailand to go further. That means that we need to outside in, and then UNESCO going to go down. Just, step out and watch and support. Now, for the 20 years, the first director, as I did, and the second director, so important. That means the second director have to move forward in this kind of concept. If they change the concept, just watch and wait. UNESCO didn't help to do anything more about the quality improvement kind of thing. And these 3 indicators about teaching, learning, and practice of school-based management kind of thing. The third standard about the impact of the school. We would like the school to be community school, and we would like very much create a learning society, knowledge society, enhancing way of learning and strengthening learning sources. That means that the school have the job to do together with the community. It's a kind of interaction with school and university. You may remember about we have the Jom Tien Declaration. We proud of to be the declaration. It's a Jom Tien Chonburi, Thailand kind of thing. That all for education and education for all. Actually, in Thailand, we have a place to announce this a very well-known and well-accepted in the world about all for education and education for all. But sorry to say the third time, this is not our culture. The least person didn't give the money to the education. The least person, Thai person, give the money to the temple. They would like to go to heaven. And the way to go to heaven, to give the money to the temple. So, for the way to English, the school, the temple have to go together. Half and half may be better. So we have a very good school in the up country. On that kind of thing, in the rural area, we very good school. My temple school, I graduated from when I was in primary school. It's number 1 of the country. And now I'm the chairman of that school. It's still very good. The temple give all the money to the school. Every year they have the ceremony for, and then they call that to the computer ceremony. That means that the school needs the computer, the new model 40 computers set, and tell to the monk. And the monk said, no problem about that. I'm going to ask the people. And then give you 40 computer new model set in a 1 minute. I think so. It's so good, very, very, very good. So we would like the school and community together, all for education and education for all. That means that school going to respond to the kids, and satisfy with the quality of the parents expected. So this is kind of the way from this the third standard, and this standard consists of 3 indicators: creation and management of knowledge for the benefit of all levels and all components of society. This is the relationship between internal quality assurance and external That means that we have the self-assessment report. It's a common. That means that we're going to assess at the external body based on the self-assessment report. And self-assessment report going to be reliable and the product of internal quality assurance. And you're going to receive, that's the new one. The new one. This for the first round and second round, the relationship like this. And from that sheet, we have the new regulation, ministerial regulation coming up. We're going to work closely between internal quality assurance and external. And we're going to setting up the kind of thing. You have to assess your own with the external. You pick up the external person going to assess you, and you develop. And if you think and you agree on from the school and the administrator, educational service area, that, oh, you up to the standard. And you ask us at external body to assess the school. So we go to work side by side, the internal and external. So it should be better than the first round and second round. The first round, second round, the relationship between internal and external, I think it's a really weak. And especially for the first round, the administrator of the Ministry of Education don't care very much about the external. They don't worry about, and they think the external body just cannot do anything about that kind of thing. But better, a little bit better and better for the second round. But the third round, I hope that going to be as the sheet tell you about that. This I spent 3 years to do a regulation. For the 3 years, it's just in March, the new regulation coming up, linking with the internal and external. If we don't have regulation like that, the top people of the ministry didn't pay attention to. I learned from my experience that the top people of the ministry, they worried about the regulation and the law. So we need that kind of thing. We have to make them worried about by having the law or regulation. And then they're going to do that, follow the law and regulation. External quality assessment by UNESCO. I'm very proud to let you know this is 4 characteristics. It's very unique. And only UNESCO responsible for all type of the assessment of the institutions, internal, the formal, informal, non-formal kind of thing, all level from the kindergarten, actually more than kindergarten. We assess the child center also. And 4 characteristics is number 1, all education institutions are required by law, as I mentioned to you. We use the law to be assessed at least once every 5 years. And EQA is free of charge. This is the first time of the assessment. Even private school, private university, they don't pay any penny or any cent or any baht, free of charge. So the cost and expense of external quality assurance is a public budget or the public budget. UNESCO responsible for, and UNESCO is an autonomous body. Is a public owned and managed like the private company. UNESCO assessment have a dual purpose. I think conflicting kind of thing. You have to helping them, as I mentioned to you, is number 1. even external quality, helping them to improvement quality education. We create the term, the new term. We probably know about ADB, Asian Development Bank. But in this term, ABD, assessment-based development. That means that the target of the assessment, even external kind of thing, should be type development. Development of the quality of education at the school level, at the educational service area level, at the national level. So this Kunavisit wrote a letter to me. He asked me about 4 months ago about that. I would like to see your system, not only the assessment for the school development. I would like to see that your system produce the assessment resource for me to develop the education system. He very clever. He asked me very difficult question to answer, but now I have the answer on that kind of thing. About 3 months, try to answer that kind of thing. And one thing is setting up the body, the quality fund office. You have to have this kind of thing. Otherwise, development for what? If you recommend to that school have to propose for the budget and probably get the budget or not. We don't know about that. And the budget is at least 1 or 2 years. It's coming up to be through. So the kid probably going to die without getting very good quality kind of thing. The second purpose, ensuring accountability by the law. So it's this kind of art and science of the management of this office. And the concept, by law, we going to have to do the second one. Section 51, this second one. By purpose, by heart, we are going to do purpose number 1. So we have 2 hearts. We have 2 hearts, the people of UNESCO, to have to do that. What UNESCO assess schools in the basic education level? We have 14 standards. You remember from the national general standard, we have the 3 standards. From the 3, we deploy to say 14. Actually, for internal, they have the 18 standards. 18 standards. For the external, we try to more concentrate on the outcome mapping kind of thing. So we have 14 standards. The 14 standard consists of 3 parts. Part 1 about the standard regarding learners, the quality of learners. We have 7 standards about how to be a good person, abilities, analytical, about intellectual ability, and the knowledge, achievement according to curriculum, and the kind of acquiring knowledge, self-study, learning how to learn kind of thing, inspiration. Number 4 is very important. Education. You can teach a man anything. What you can do, you can let them know in their heart about the strengths and weaknesses by the students themselves. This saying by Albert Einstein. You cannot do anything. What you can do, let